This is Wallet Brief, where we break down what actually moved the U.S. economy this week, without the noise. If prices, interest rates, jobs, housing, or taxes are quietly changing your money, this is where you stay informed. Let's get into what really happened this week, and what it means for your wallet. For years, sales taxes have been a quiet but steady drain on household budgets, especially on essentials like groceries. There were over 400 sales tax rate changes in 2025, mostly at the local level. Louisiana raised its state sales tax rate from 4.45% to 5% on January 1, 2025. But as inflation remained elevated through 2025, several states began eliminating or reducing taxes on necessities to ease the burden on consumers. In 2025, Kansas and Mississippi eliminated or decreased the sales tax on grocery items. Meanwhile, indirect taxes in the U.S. became increasingly localized and specialized, with cities and local jurisdictions implementing new, unique taxes that transcend traditional boundaries. By January 2026, a wave of tax changes was hitting simultaneously across dozens of states. Under the Grocery Tax Relief Act, food and food ingredients became exempt from Arkansas state sales tax effective January 1, 2026, but these items remain subject to local sales tax. That means shoppers in cities like Little Rock still pay local taxes at checkout, even though the state portion was eliminated. Illinois is set to eliminate the state sales tax on groceries, but counties and municipalities will be able to replace the state sales tax with their own 1% local sales tax on groceries. Washington, D.C. delayed a planned sales tax rate increase, keeping it at 6% in 2026 instead of raising it to 6.5%. The planned increase to 7% in fiscal year 2027 is still on track unless further changes are made. Meanwhile, retail delivery fees are gaining momentum. Vermont House Bill 863 would add a 30-cent retail delivery fee to taxable tangible personal property sold at retail and delivered to a person in Vermont, taking effect July 1, 2026, if enacted. Virginia is considering both a 20-cent local retail delivery fee for Northern Virginia under HB 900 and a statewide 50-cent fee, plus an additional 25-cent fee for Northern Virginia under SB 638, both set for July 1, 2027. Retail delivery fee legislation is currently under consideration in Hawaii, Nebraska, and New York. Effective January 1, 2026, multiple Washington local jurisdictions including Algona, Bellingham, Seattle, and Renton imposed or increased local sales and use taxes. California implemented a covered battery-embedded waste recycling fee beginning January 1, 2026, set at 1.5% of the retail sale price up to $15 per product. Michigan increased the tax on gasoline and diesel fuel from 31 cents per gallon to 51 cents per gallon with adjustments for inflation in future years. The trend is tax shifting, not tax cutting. No major statewide or local sales tax rate changes were specific to February 2026, but states are strategically moving taxes around, cutting them on essentials like groceries while adding new delivery fees to fund transportation budgets. Retail delivery fees are being considered by lawmakers in more than 10 states, including Hawaii, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. Colorado charges 28 cents per delivery and Minnesota charges 50 cents, with the fees imposed on retailers who can choose to pass them on to consumers. At the same time, states are looking to broaden their sales tax base to fill budget gaps, with several states reducing taxes on certain necessities while expanding taxes to digital products, services, and business-to-business transactions. The overall pattern is complexity increasing, not simplification. If you live in Arkansas or Illinois, your grocery bill just got slightly cheaper, but only if your city or county doesn't impose its own local grocery tax. Most will. If you shop online frequently, delivery fees could add up fast. Washington state estimates each resident could make between 42 and 46 online retail orders for delivery in 2026, meaning the average customer would pay between 13 and 14 in retail delivery fees annually at 30 cents per order. That's manageable, but adds hidden costs to already expensive online shopping. Vermont's proposed delivery fee would apply once per retail transaction regardless of the number of items or shipments involved, and retailers would be allowed, but not required to collect the fee from consumers. If you live in Washington, D.C., you avoided a tax hike this year. The sales tax stays at 6% instead of rising to 6.5%. But that reprieve is temporary, with a jump to 7% still scheduled for 2027. The bigger impact is compliance confusion. A single zip code can now contain multiple, overlapping tax rates, making it nearly impossible for small businesses and individual sellers to track what they owe. If you sell online or operate a small business across state lines, these changes mean higher compliance costs. Vermont's retail delivery fee bill is still moving through the legislature, with a potential July 1, 2026 effective date. Virginia's competing bills, one with a 20-cent local fee, another with a 50-cent statewide fee, could be decided in the coming weeks. Minnesota is considering bills that would either eliminate its retail delivery fee entirely or remove it from clothing sales starting July 1, 2025. Also watch for Illinois grocery tax changes to take final shape. Counties and municipalities need to decide whether to impose their own 1% local grocery tax to replace the eliminated state tax. And if you operate an online business, keep an eye on which states join Colorado and Minnesota in implementing delivery fees. The trend is accelerating, and more states facing budget gaps will likely follow. The era of simple, predictable sales taxes is over, and it's only getting more complicated from here. That's your wallet brief for this week. These changes don't always make headlines, but they do change how much you pay, save, and earn. We'll be back next week with the updates that matter. Until then, stay informed and protect your wallet.